Hey everybody, welcome back to XL 10 Minute Leaders, wherever you are joining us from in the world. Good morning, good evening to you. My name is Graham Brown. Coming up, a new guest, a special guest on the show. We have Diane Prince coming all the way from Malibu, California. Diane, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Graham. Great to be here.
Okay, fantastic to have you here. I'm very much looking forward to this. Are you ready? You got 10 minutes. We'll kick off the timer. Ready to rock and roll, Diane?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, let's go. So what I'll do is I'll flash up the questions as they come in. If anybody's actually watching along live, we have actually some fans of yours. Janine, does that ring any bells with you, Janine?
It does. It does.
Woo,
yes.
woo,
Hey,
Diane,
Janine.
there you go. We haven't even started the questions and they're already putting in the comments. Well done. Excellent. Thank you for joining us, Janine. All right, let's go. 10 minutes starts now. Firstly, Diane, what does it say on your business card?
Okay, if I had a business card, which I haven't since COVID, it would say Diane Prince, founder and entrepreneur coach.
Excellent. Well, that's going to lead into the next question. What is your superpower?
Building and scaling companies. Any kind of company, I love it.
Any kind of company. What's the hardest company that you've scaled?
A clothing business. Oh my gosh, that was terrible.
Retail?
No, I sold in home parties.
Oh, wow. So you're out there hustling,
Yes.
taking samples to people.
Well,
So
I had women, I recruited women around the country. I had 325 women across America who were selling it. And the hardest part was
Really?
the inventory and design and all that stuff. Yes, that was hard.
So I know from my research that you've got experience in building and scaling businesses to 50 million in revenue. So that's a pretty tall task. I mean, for most startup founders, most entrepreneurs, most business owners, that's the dream, isn't it? What do you know about doing that most business owners or wannabe business owners don't know about scaling business to 50 million?
Well, I think the reason why I was able to do it, well, we had a really good idea and great timing, but also it was probably the things that we didn't know. This was my first business. So I was in my 20s. And back then, I'm going to age myself, but back then, like no one even called themselves an entrepreneur, except for like Donald Trump. I mean, it was like you were a business owner and you did what made sense. And I think that having that vantage point of building businesses back then, where there was so much less noise about how to do it, made it a lot more simple and we were able to just take the next step and the next step and the next step, which you need to do when you're building a startup or any kind of company.
So when you were in your 20s, what business was that? Was that the clothing business?
No. My first business was a staffing business. It was super specific and niche in an industry that's here in the US. It's title insurance. So they were like the real estate people behind the technical people behind real estate transactions.
So you seem to have a history in growing businesses that are fundamentally about people and large numbers of people. What is it in your DNA or your personality that makes you good at that?
I love recruiting and selling, and I'm fascinated with managing people, and that has been a huge learning experience, let me tell you, because in my 20s, I had a lot of people and I hired a lot of people, but learning throughout the years how to communicate. And I teach people on how to hire and fire, but also look at, is it you? And what part do you have in it? So yes, I'm pretty obsessed with building your business and your vision, because the people are so important. I mean, they're the ones that are gonna get you there.
So are you building a business now? Don't you ever give up? Don't you ever take time off? You must be sort of always on switch. What's it like actually being around you?
Well, oh my gosh, I don't know. Janine could probably answer that. But when I actually got a job about a year and a half ago, and when they did a personality assessment when they were deciding if they were going to hire me, it came back as unemployable because I'm an entrepreneur. So
That's a compliment, I think, isn't it?
I think it was. I felt very understood, and they hired me anyway. So, but I did quit after a little over a year because I'm energetic and I love, this is what I love. It's fun.
Was it what was in your academic credentials? I mean, I'm interested to know why on paper, at least, should you have never been as successful as you were?
My graduate degree is in French literature.
Okay. I like this story. Keep going.
I had no idea. I thought I was going to go to business school. Then I freaked out. I wasn't ready to enter the real world. I had this idea. Well, if I became a professor, I thought it would be like, I had this like romantic vision of smoking cigarettes in a beautiful building and reading books all day. And it was, so I started that path. I was awful at it. I was terrible at academia. It was not a fit. And then I was at UCLA, and at the part where they like invite you back to the PhD program, they actually call, and there was like a legend of, because everybody got invited back. And there was like the legend of the person like 12 years ago that didn't get invited back. Well, I was that person in my year. So the chair of the department called me, and I will never forget this. She said, this was in I think this was like 1993. She called me and she said, "We think you're probably better suited for business." And so then I just kind of figured it out.
So you flipped. Okay. So you realized the French B movies and the art, what do they call the French art nouveau? That sort of.
Yeah. Well, that part was fun. It was like the philosophers and the analyzing text and like reading in medieval French. I mean, that part was like.
Staring out of a window, smoking a cigarette, just gazing on life.
That was not what it was about.
You were more into the tangibles. Okay, I get that part. So let's ask you what you can actually teach our audience with all that knowledge that you have and experience of working with people. If you only had 3 minutes, what could you teach our audience in the next 3 that will change their lives for the better? And this could be in business, technology, society.
Okay, here's something that I would change in business owners' lives is in managing your team as you're building your company. Create the story that you want your people to know and that is going to engage them in your company. For example, we built that $50 million company, sold it, and then everybody came back when we started up another company a few years later. So really create the story, because otherwise you want to create, in other words, your own drama for people to follow in your company.
What do you mean by story? I mean, I love this conversation about story. People think story is once upon a time, Diane. What exactly are you talking about here?
The story of your business and getting people engaged and excited about what you're building. So it's more about, I mean, every company has a story. There's a million stories everywhere. And so specifically something that's going to excite people and let them understand. Otherwise, it's like a bunch of people that are going to jobs. But when you're building a company, you want people to know, like, okay, this is, Graham might be kind of, crazy or whatever, like whatever, but we're building this, he's building this, and this is the story of what we're building. And otherwise, other people are going to kind of create their own things in their head and not really know where you're going, and they'll create their own drama. So create your own drama in your company.
How do I learn to be a better storyteller then? Where do I go for my sources and inspiration?
Well, I think when in this context, it's more about showing your story by how you, even from everything from when you're hiring. It's your story. If we're talking about specifically in people in your company, it starts even in your job description and who you're bringing on, and your story is part of your employee experience. And so it's basically how you're interacting with your team. That's what tells the story.
You see yourself as a good storyteller?
I'm working on it every day. But
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's the perfect answer for it. I don't think there is a perfect story. It's ongoing, isn't it? And like writing a book, we really don't know, not wanting to get morbid, but we really don't know what the story means until the last chapter, right? That's kind of how a good story is told. But it's like with us, like living our lives, we have to keep telling the story, keep evolving it. And you're evolving as well as an individual, and your story's evolving. 100%. So I think that was a fantastic, it's a great answer. I'm going to ask you, that was too easy, that question. I'm going to ask you a tougher one, because I think you need to be challenged, all right?
I'm scared.
What do you believe that most people disagree with you on?
Okay, well, one thing is I believe, so there's only one reason why companies fail. Okay, so people will have all kinds of reasons. They'll say because you ran out of cash or because you had a bad partnership. I mean, those are things that happen, but the only reason why companies fail is because the founders decide to stop solving the problems within the company, because all of those other things can be solved. If you have the wrong people, if you have the wrong partnership, all of those things, they can be solved. You can pivot, you can do a lot of different things. So that is something that I fundamentally believe that other people will say different, give you a different answer.
Oh yeah, that was a great answer as well there, Diane. All right, overtime now. I'm going to give you one extra question, put you on the spot, a bit of an ambush, pass the baton. Name a leader. It could be in business, technology, or society. It could be real in the sense that somebody you know or somebody from the world of media who could be watching now, maybe watching later. That should be on this show, like yourself, has a good story to tell.
Okay. Wow. Let me think. Maybe, do you know Karen Kahn?
Try me.
She is the founder of I Fund Women. She's got a really good story to tell. She's yeah.
All right, the call is out there to Karen. Fantastic. Oh well, we've had some fans follow you and comment. There's quite a lot of comments coming. I don't know if you noticed these, Diane. Janine's obviously a fan of yours.
I see the woot woot. I love that.
It's coming up. You had a few other. There she goes. Diane is awesome. How much did you pay, Janine, to put these comments in here?
No comment. No comment.
Fantastic. It's great to have some support from back home. Diane, it's been fantastic talking to you. And I think the advice that you shared in this short time is really useful. I'm sure people want to find out more about you. Where do we find out more about you? Where do we go?
Yes. Okay. Well, you can go to dianeprince.co. is my website, dianeprince.co. There's no M. And you'll learn information. I'm about to launch my total team makeover program, where I'm going to teach how to hire the right people, fire the wrong ones, and manage your team to get what you want. So I'm going to be giving tools on how to actually do those things, including creating your company culture and your company drama. So people can reach me. I'm all over the internet too, but dianeprince.co is my website, and you can get all my contact information there.
Fantastic. Hey, everybody, that was Diane Prince. Thank you for joining us today. It's been a really fun chat with you and keeping the energy high all the way from Malibu, California. Diane, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Graham.